What's going on? Rails Rants Reloaded. Whether you're looking at this on YouTube or listening to it on Anchor or any podcast that it will be attached to, thank you for coming. What I'm going to talk about is a subject that I really don't understand. Really don't have too much of a definition of it. I could look at the definition, but I'm not going to do that right now. But the name of this podcast slash video is going to be called I'm Not a Liberal. And I'm saying that because I am not. I don't even know what a fucking liberal is. At the end of the day, go on social media platforms, and when you start talking politics or views or start talking about how you feel on certain issues, especially black issues, a lot of people, especially white people, the first thing that comes out of their mouth is saying that you're a Democrat, you're a liberal, or the liberal Democrats got you brainwashed, this, that, and the third. I'm not a liberal. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm not an independent. I'm just me. And me being me is I have certain views on certain subjects. So to be pigeonholed, and a lot of people that I speak with feel like they're being pigeonholed into being a Democrat or being a liberal if they do not have conservative values, Republican values, or anything that goes against what the Donald Trump I want to be a retard fans are rolling with. At the end of the day, I want my taxes lowered. I don't want police to kill black people. I don't want black people to get killed by black people, but also I do not want white people to say, what about black on black crime, when you speak up for black people getting killed by police. I don't think all lives matter. I only think black lives matter. You know why? Because we are the ones that are on the forefront being videotaped, being killed. Like we've always been killed. Like when my mother was a child and my grandmother was a child growing up, police been killing black people, but now we record it. I don't like to be put in a bag of, once you start to speak up for yourself, all of a sudden you're a threat, you're this, you're the opposite of what somebody else likes. Not at all. I want certain things, and maybe the certain things that I want are not what you want. But if there are certain things that I want and you also want, how am I put in this trick bag of, well, you're this? To me, calling someone a liberal is like calling them a nigga. Pretty much, it's like calling them a nigga without saying the word nigga. Like, oh, you say something, Black Lives Matter. Oh, you're a fucking liberal. No, I'm not. I'm a black person that is tired of black people getting killed by fucking police. That's why Black Lives Matter. Uh, Plain and simple. All that other shit is just goofy. What I call it is what they do on the news, and a lot of these daggone Trump supporters and Trump lovers that like to suck on his penis and promote anything he says or back anything he says without having any intellect. What I see it is changing the narrative from fact to fiction, or just saying some other shit to go around the content or comment at hand or the subject matter at hand. It's like if I say Budweiser tastes disgusting and there's a whole bunch of Budweiser fans, and they'll say, well, what about drinking Coca-Cola? Coca-Cola can't taste no better. It's like you're just going off of content or context to not have any accountability for what's going on or what you're saying. And that's what most of these people on the internet that have just gotten into politics or started to follow politics since the orange Cheeto 45 has been in office, and especially with the the Trump virus that's going on. All of these people, it's like Donald Trump said, he could be in the middle of Manhattan and shoot somebody, and people would back him, and it'll be all good. See, and it's like with conversations like this, with people calling other people liberals if they're not Republicans, because the only time you hear this statement come out of people's mouths is by people that, one, do not like or support Donald Trump, and two, people that are Republican and they think that you're a Democrat. Not even a Democrat either. You see what I'm saying? It's like, especially with black folks, and I keep saying especially with black folks because if you go on these forums and on the Facebook groups and Instagram posts that get controversial, all of a sudden, if you do not agree with what somebody says, you're a Democrat or you're a liberal. But if you are against guns, does it make you a Republican? I mean, does it make you a Democrat? Does it make you a liberal? Just might be a person that doesn't like guns. But the way that this whole system is set up, everybody that goes against what the Republicans or the Trump supporters, everybody that goes against them is put in a certain bag. But when you put those people in a certain bag, the ones that you say, well, you're a Republican, you're a racist, you don't like Black Lives Matter because they're speaking up for themselves, you're a racist, you support Donald Trump, you support the things that Donald Trump says and does that is racist, and when you say that they are racist for supporting that, or you support racism, or things like the Confederate flag, you support the Confederate flag, all of a sudden, when you say they're a racist, they say, oh, no, that's not true. That's not true. They try to come with this long list of bullshit to try to validate the reasons why they support something. But when black people or people that don't agree with Donald Trump or the Republican Party or whatever wing, left wing, right wing, I don't know the difference between the wings, but when you don't agree with them, they try to put you in a bag. But when you try to put them in a bag, they try to flip it. Uh they try to switch the narrative. They try to make you seem like you are the worst piece of person ever put on this planet. And that shit is the goofiest thing in this world and in this state. It's gotten to a point where when people start to say shit like that, or they say you're a liberal, or they say, oh, the Democrats got you food, or the Democrats have never done anything for black people, this, that, and the third. Those same people have never done anything for black people. Those same people that's in that party or support that party have never done anything for black people. And it's just like a talking point that just comes from a sector, and it's becoming a large sector of ignorant people in this fucking country. And it needs to be nipped in the butt. It needs to be addressed. And at the end of the day, it's like the black coons, like the Candace Owenses, and the ones that want to be a part of a particular part of government, which will probably be Republican, or people that like Donald Trump without directly saying that they like Donald Trump. There should be some sort of punishment. See, the reason why you have these people that go off and start to say goofy shit about black people, and they are black people, and they act like they're Republican, or they have Republican views, but they're really not Republican. They're just test dummies for the Republican Party, or the people that are Trump supporters. The reason they do this is because there is no reaction to their actions. Yeah, we live in a country where they say, quote unquote, you have freedom of speech, quote unquote, you have these freedoms, this, that, and the third. But in certain pools of people, when you start to go on to the coon train, and people start to see your coonish ways, A lot of times people get dealt with, not in the black community though. In the black community, we can do what we want, say what we want without being punished, without being fined, without being addressed, without having their lives put in danger for this sort of rhetoric. Because at the end of the day, if you're black and you are a Republican supporter, that's kind of ignorant. Even if you're black and you're a Democratic supporter. Because let's get something straight. At the end of the day, if you are black and you do not agree with or like the Republican Party, that does not make you by default a Democrat. But the powers that be and these coons that are in these certain parties, situations, and have these platforms like the Candace Owenses and these other fucking buck dancing coons, once you don't agree with what the Republicans are doing, saying, all of a sudden you're a Democrat. All of a sudden, by default, you are a Democrat, especially if you are black. By default, you are a Democrat, and by default, you are a liberal. Why is it you just can't be a person with your own daggone opinion and like what you want to like and agree with or disagree with what you want to agree or disagree with? This is why politics in 2020 and while Donald Trump is in office is very fucking dangerous. Because when he says shit like fake news, a lot of the news is fake and a lot of the news is put out there to put a target on your back or put you into a bag of people that you're not even a part of. Yes, do I vote Republican? No. Do I vote Democrat? No. I vote for who I feel like I should be voting for, especially in the local elections in my area, because I know some of the people that are running for these particular offices. And it's not because they're Republican or they're a Democrat. It's because I've spoken to these people, I know these people, and my politics should be more expanded to that. And it should be more expanded for everybody, because it's like what Dr. Claude Anderson says, black folks, especially black folks, need to vote in blocks. It wouldn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat. If you're going to do something for me and my people, you will get my vote. But the way they split you up is they say that you're a Republican, you're a Democrat, or you are a liberal or left wing, right wing, this, that, and the third. And then when you have these nominees that are going for these offices, in our mind, we are saying that, oh, he's a Republican, we go look into his past. No, especially Republicans, they don't look into Republicans' past. But when it comes to Democrats, they look into a Democratic candidate's past. They looked in Obama. They're looking at Joe Biden when he said about the when he helped sign the crime bill, Kamala Harris. All of a sudden, everybody is a investigative reporter, and what happens is that these Republicans, anti-liberal or Trump supporters, they put it out there and they make you say, you know what? I'm not a Republican, so I'm not going to vote Republican. But I'm not a Democrat either, or I don't like these people, so I'm not going to vote. And then what happens is the person that you are pissed off at for the last 4 years, Donald Trump, and all the stuff he does and says, he will get reelected because you're not putting your skin in the game. And they know how to separate a block of people from voting as a block. Because at the end of the day, people talk about, why can't we get reparations? We can't get reparations because our votes do not count. And yes, I said it. Black people's votes do not count. Black people's votes will not count until we vote with a purpose. The reason why Barack Obama got a majority of black votes the first time, because subconsciously we voted with a purpose. We voted to get a black man in office that we believed in, we stood behind, and we gravitated to. That is the only time we have ever voted as a block on a political scale for the top seat, but we did it unconsciously because we did it because we wanted one of our own to have the seat and we liked him, but we did not ask for anything. We thought we were going to get something, but we never asked for anything. That's why it's funny when people say Barack Obama never did anything for black people in the 8 years he was in office. But during that same 8 years he was in office, black people never came together and asked him for anything. The lesbians, homosexuals, what is the LGBTQ community? They came together. They played group economics. They had lobbyists. They had money. They had an ear to the president because you know why? They moved and voted as a block. And that's the problem with black folks. It's not about being a supporter of the Republican Party or a supporter of the Democratic Party. It's about voting with a purpose, voting with a want, voting with a politician and being in his ear and saying, look, this is what we want. Can you deliver on that? If you deliver on that and you make that an agenda for black people, we will vote for you. Everybody else does it. Every race does it. But when black people start talking like that, all of a sudden we're a threat and we shouldn't speak in that sort of tone. You have to look, you have to do the knowledge. Asians, Hispanics, Jews, other religions, they all vote one way. The majority of them vote one way, especially when it comes to things they want, things they need, and things that will help them build themselves as a community on a local and a national fucking scale. So, to wrap this up, at the end of the day, I'm not a Democrat, not a Republican, not a liberal, not a white wing, not a left wing, surely not a Tea Party. But also remember, just because I'm not one of you does not make me one of them. D-Rel, Rel's Rants. If you like the show, the channel, please like, subscribe, and share. And I'm out. Peace.